Hi everyone, this is Piyush, and today I am here with another lecture on AWS security. So in our first meet, we talk about a very brief about introduction to the AWS security, where we learned a few topics like AWS shared responsibility model and how IAM role works, what are the password policies, how can we create the security groups, how can we add the rules to the security group, etc. So in continuation of that, we will go a more deep on the AWS security today. And to begin with, when we talk about security, so security can be divided into multiple parts. It can be a data security, it can be a network security, it can be an application security, it can be an access management, it can be an access security, it can be a compliance issue. Okay, so if we talk about security majorly, so we can classify the security and the compliances into the different categories. So here, if you can see on my screen, we will talk about the different categories and how we can divide the security into different categories. So first, it comes to the identity and access management. So I will take you through what all managed services are available in AWS for different use cases. So first, in the first category, we have identity and access management. Okay, in the identity and access management, if we have to securely manage and access the services and the resources can be user, the resources can be like your physical virtual machine, your bucket, anything, right? And it can be anything under the resources. So if you really want to securely manage your services, different services and the resources, then we have to use the IAM service provided by the AWS. Okay, so this is the first use case under the identity and access management. Going forward, if your application has a need of a single sign-on service, okay, so in that case, if your application need that, you can use the AWS single sign uh, managed services. You can integrate this with your applications. Okay, identity and management of your apps. So if you heard about user management, like so if your application need a login, login functionality where somebody have to log in into your application before accessing it, so that's where you can use the Amazon Cognito. It will help you to manage your users for your different applications. Also, if you are a user of Windows Active Directory, you are managing your all the users group and all your resources on the Active Directory, then you have an option for microservices Active Directory on the AWS as well. And all the if we talk about all other resources in the AWS, if you want to access securely all the resources, we do have the resource access manager. Okay, the last point in the identity and access management, and it's a very important point, which is AWS organization. Okay, so AWS organization will help you to, if you're a large organization, you are having a lots of AWS account for different application or for different use case of the applications, right? And you want to centralize your billing, or you want to, have a centralized access over those account, then the AWS organization can help you to check with. Okay, and so this is the first category, identity and access management, where we talk about the resources access, we talk about the user access, we talk about the identity of the user, we talk about the different account and their compliance and the governance. Okay, moving forward, we have the another category for the security, which is detection. Okay, so we talk about the detection. What do you understand with the detection? Detection service use to detect few of, the vulnerabilities in your account for your different services and different resources. So if you want to use a security compliance center, we have a security hub. It's a complete hub for all the security and the compliance measure. Okay, and if we want to use the threat detection service for all our resources which we are using right now in our AWS account, then we have Amazon Guard Duty for that. And to analyze our application with, with whatever the vulnerabilities our application is having in terms of security, then we have Amazon Inspector service. This is again managed services provided by AWS, which can help you to scan through all your application security and analyze the security concerns. Moving forward, the AWS config, it's a very important service. Here you can create lots of rules, and this service will help you to monitor, and it will tell you that what is compliant and what is non-compliant. Okay, and we will have the demo of AWS config as well going forward in our session today. Okay, And then again, very important thing, that is CloudTrail. So it's used to track the activity, all the activity I would say, which is we are calling through the API. So whatever the services resources we are accessing in the account, if we have the cloud trail enabled, we can make sure that we are logging into the each and every activity for their resources. Okay. So also we will go through the AWS cloud trail as well in our session. We'll see how to create the cloud trail and how we can monitor the access, right? And if we talk about a specific to IoT services or IoT devices, we do have AWS IoT Device Defender with us. So these are the services: Security Hub, Guard Duty, Inspector, Config, CloudTrail, and the Device Defender. These are under the detection. Next, we have the infrastructure protection. So infrastructure protection, we talk about. So we really need the network security when it comes to the infrastructure. We really need the DDoS protection. Okay, we really need the web traffic filtration over there. Okay, and we also need the firewall for our infrastructure. So for all different type of security, we have the AWS managed services. For the network security, we do have AWS network security, and for DDoS protection, we have the AWS Shield, where we can have the rules enabled, okay, to protect against the DDoS to our infrastructure. And we do have the WAF, that is Web Application Firewall. There also we can have the different type of rules, which can help us to prevent our infrastructure from the malicious web traffic. And then we have the AWS Firewall Manager to set up a central management for the firewall for the different AWS resources. That all comes under the infrastructure protections. Now we have data protection. In the data protection, the first use case we have is if we want to discover and protect our sensitive data, and which is not only limited to a small scale, but it can be a high scale data where you want to discover and protect your sensitive data. Then Amazon Music can help you. Okay, if you want to store our keys and manage keys, these keys are referred to the encryption and encryption and decryption of the keys. So we can have the customer specific keys as well, and we have the so that is AWS provided key as well. So that comes under the AWS key management system. Now, if we have the hardware based security, okay, hardware based, if we need the hardware based key storage, that is sometimes that is a need of a business requirement that you cannot store your key in the cloud. So for that we do have the AWS Cloud HSM. Okay, now for your load balancer and other web URLs, you do have the public private SSL and TLS certificate configurations also available in the AWS with the service AWS certificate manager. We can go directly go to the certificate manager and we can generate the certificate from there and can use in our application. And to manage this different type of secrets, to rotate the secrets timely, and to retrieve the secrets. So we do have the AWS Secret Manager available under the data protection category, and in this can be integrated with the application to store all type of sensitive key value pairs, so that you should not mention your all the sensitive data like password, username, URLs, or any other key value pair, and you can directly fetch it from the secrets manager, and we can timely rotate the password, we can timely rotate the credential from the secrets manager as well. So that is very important, one of the very important service I would say in terms of data protection, and it has a lot of use cases. We will talk about the secret manager a lot in a different session. We'll go deep dive how it works. Next we have the incident response. So for investigating all the potential security issues, we have the detective service, which is Amazon Detective Service, available into the AWS cloud. And for the disaster recovery, we do have the cost-effective and automated disaster recovery tool, which is Cloud Endure Disaster Recovery Tool. Okay, and for the compliance, we do have the AWS Artifact and the AWS Audit Manager. So AWS Artifact is a self-service portal for on-demand access to the AWS compliance report. It will give you what all compliances AWS have, and for all the services, all the different category of the services. Okay, so basically these are the security types, I would say, and these are the security services available into the AWS. So one can use all the different services depending upon their different use cases. Somebody may use two or three services under the identity and access management because their application may be more centric to the identity and access, control. And few of the services by default, I would say that we all should use like AWS Config, AWS CloudTrail. Okay, we also talk about the monitoring service, which CloudWatch. Okay, so we'll go through that in next few minutes. But these are the few services which AWS providing for getting the high security in the cloud. Also, we talk about the strategic security process for the AWS. So basically, one should think about four things like, well, first, how to prevent the data, how should we detect the vulnerability, how should we respond to that, and how should we remediate that. So AWS provide the different services under these subsections. So in the prevent section, we can define the user permission, we can have the infrastructure protection, data protection, and we can have the different policies and strategy planned over under the protection under the prevent model. Okay, under the detect model, we can have the visibility of the organization security. We can have the logging and the monitoring services enabled, which can help us to detect the threat and detect the vulnerabilities in our applications or in the services running. And we should have the automations to quickly respond to any of the threat found, and to the security team. And also we should have a automation to quickly remediate and secure our AWS environment. So basically, this is the whole ecosystem. When we talk about security, we should know about different services. So going deep down, let's go to the console and see some practical. So let me show you something. So we will first talk about AWS config service. Okay, so we'll talk about AWS config service, where we can create the rules and how we can monitor for the compliant and non-compliant resources. So if you can see on the screen, I have two EC2 instances running. Okay, and if I quickly show you the security group, so I do have the port 22 open. Okay, which is SSH port, and the source is anywhere. Okay, so let's go to the config quickly. So this is AWS config console, which is loading now. Okay, so right now, if you can see on my dashboard, so right now there is zero compliant rule, zero compliant resources. Let's go to the rules and check if there is any rule or not. So there is no rule. So let's add a rule. So there are two different ways to add a rule. We can use the AWS managed rules, which is already there. There are lots of rules, okay, for different services, and we can also create our custom rule as well, right? So let's for this session, let's add the AWS managed rules. So let me check if I have something for SSH. Yeah, so I do have restricted SSH. So what it will do is check whether the security group that are in use disallow unrestricted incoming SSH traffic. Okay, so let's select this, go next. Name we will keep the same, description will keep the same. Okay, and it should be we'll do for all changes. Okay, if we modify anything, that should also be captured here in the config. Okay, and we'll go next. So everything is okay here. This is a summary page, and let's add the rule. Okay, so this is a rule we have added. Now if we go to the dashboard again, it will take few minutes to compile again, and it will come up with what what all it will detect from that particular rule. So let's wait for a few minutes, and we will see some of the data here on the dashboard. In the meantime, I'll take you through the CloudTrail as well, so that we'll wait for this. So if you can see here, the total resource count has been increased here after we have added the rule. Okay, if we go to resources, we can see we can categorize AWS resources. We can see like EC2. We can search for EC2 here, EC2 instances. So any compliant is compliant or not. So it is still evaluating as per the rules we have added. Okay. So if you can see here, in under the resources, it's showing two compliant resources. If you click on that, it will show you, it will talk about the security groups, okay, and it's saying that these two rules are compliant, okay. Let's make some changes in the group. Let me open it. So click on the edit inbound rules, click on add rules. Let's add http, and it should be anywhere. Let's add one more rule, which is https, and it should be from anywhere. Let's save it. Go back to the console of AWS config. We'll click on dashboard. Can you see that here? We get a one non-compliant resource here under the resources section here. Yeah, so let's refresh one more time the AWS config console, and we'll see what is the non-compliant here. Oh, it's saying the one non-compliant rule as well. So okay, let's click on the one non-compliant rule once, and let's see what it's saying. And in the meantime, let me open this as well. So it is showing non-compliant resources, okay. And here it is showing AWS non-compliant. Okay, let me see the details. Okay, so because of these rules, right? If you can see, it is the port 22 is open for anywhere as in terms of the side of range. So that is where it is showing the non-compliant. Okay, so let me quickly go and edit it. So we are here. We'll edit the inbound rules. So in SSH, we'll say no, and we'll say my IP. Okay, it is restricted to my IP now, the port 22. Let's save the rules. Okay, go to the console again and let's wait for a few seconds. It will take some time to, reflect back. In the meantime, if you want to, read more about AWS config, so we have the few links here down in the left side panel. If you click what's new on AWS, so you can read about the configs. You can select the, from the left hand side, whatever the service you want to read, and you can see all the new launches for the AWS config. Okay, you can see AWS config adds three new config rules for the secrets manager. Now supports the Amazon container service. Okay, everything about the config service you can read about here. What's new going on? Other than that, if you really interested, deep dive with the config service, we have AWS documentation for the config available. You can click here and you can read about it, like what it is and how do we use. Okay, how what how we use and what type of help it can provide us in terms of security. Okay, so all this we can read out from here, and so these all are available here. You can read about the FAQs. You can also read about the pricing if you are literally interested, for different type of public reasons, how it will cost you. Okay, so there is a whole lot of formula how you can calculate the exact amount of cost for your config rules. So this is probably about the config AWS config service. You can add different resources. You can look for the different resources, they are compliant or not based on the rules you are adding, right? So we'll wait for a few more minutes because it will usually take some time to reflect back. Okay. In the meantime, let me take you through the another service which we talk about, that is CloudTrail, which is used to track the activity and the API uses. Okay. It's a very important service. So this is how it works, like it capture, it stores, and then we can have the alarms, and we can events to be set for these store data, and then we can have the review as well. Okay, and it have the different benefits, like it help us to simplify the compliance. It help us to get a visibility of user and resources activities, like what user doing inside or with which resource the users are playing under the AWS account. And it's for all the reason you can set it up. Okay, and so let's go ahead and create a trail. We'll click here, and we'll give a name like management events demo trail. Okay, and it's saying that trail log bucket in the folder. Okay, log will be stored under this particular bucket. The name will be, name of the bucket will be this, and under the folder AWS logs and the subfolder. Okay, so now click on the create trails. So now if you can see, we have the CloudTrail enabled here. So I can walk you through the different options here. So you can see the dashboard here, right? It's saying the status is login. You can create the different trails here with the different reason and different combinations of configurations. We have the event history, we have the insights. So if you click on the event history, I'll show you the full, it will show you the full of the events, like whatever we have done. So with the root user, suppose I have deleted a bucket few minutes back. So I have created a bucket for config, and I have created, so you can see, right, which function or which event I called, which is a delete bucket. Okay, and I'll click on this. It will give me the more details. What is the event time, who was the user, okay, what was the event name, and what was the event source, what type of access key I have used, and event ID, request ID, okay, reason, and this is a record, right, what I have done. So what this is, if you can see, this is a very useful information in terms of security, managing the logs, who is doing, when you have a team of, say 100 or 200 people, and you have created a different IAM user for them just to log in and do their work. But how will you make sure that people not make unwanted use of your AWS account in terms of security, in terms of cost, everything, right? So that is where it comes into the picture. You can trace each and everything, whatever the API calls. So if you can see, I have created the EC2 instances. So even I have created the tags for them. I have created the key pair. Okay, I have created the security group sometime backs. Okay, and who log in into the console and at what time login and everything, every detail is here, and we can filter out as well. Okay, if we talk about event name, we can give the event name here, and it will only filter out those particular events for us, just to so let me put it here in this with delete bucket. Okay, so let me select this here from the drop down, and I can see all the delete bucket events are there, and the event timing was February 23rd, 16th March, and the 2nd of May. Okay, and these are the different buckets created and destroyed on that particular day. So this is how the CloudTrail works. Other than you have insights, you can create the insights, but that is again, insights are events that shows the unusual right API activities. Okay, if unusual activity logged on, and insight event will show in this table for the 90 days, and it has the additional charges for that. Okay, and now if you click on the trails, you will know that how many trails are there, and you can directly, have directly transfer those particular logs to the CloudWatch as well, just for different type of alarms and monitoring purpose, right? You can have the inside events, you can have the data events, you can have the different tags for your trail, and also we can have the SNS notification. Right now it is disabled, but we can enable it so that it can directly send us an email with all the breaches of the securities, right? And again, in the left panel, you can see, you can read about the pricing, you can read about the documentation, you can read about the FAQs, and I will highly recommend you, before using any of the services, go with the pricing, so that it will not be a surprise at the end. And do read about the documentation, well, like how CloudTrail works, what is the workflow, what are the concept, if you can see if what are the different concepts of the CloudTrails, okay, and how the workflow is, how it works. So that will help you at the time of configuring the CloudTrail, okay. So and also you can use the maximum benefit out of it when you are enabling the CloudTrails. Okay, so this is about the CloudTrail. Let's go back and see if do we have anything on our config console as we, yeah, so let's go to the dashboard again. Yeah, still showing the non-compliant. Let me refresh it, or maybe we have to wait a bit more. So we talk about AWS config, we talk about the CloudTrail. Both if we see here, if we go to the security services, so the both comes under detection category, okay. We talk about AWS config, how we can configure it, how we can leverage the maximum benefit from the cloud, AWS config and the CloudTrail as well. I just want to show you the one more thing here, which is CloudWatch, which is also very important. So if you go to the CloudWatch, just let's go to the CloudWatch. So it's a it's a monitoring service. It can monitor your application, your resources running into the AWS. Okay. So if you can see in the left panel, we have alarms, we have logs, we have matrices, we have events, we have service lenses, container insights, Lambda insight, and so on, right? We can have the different services register here under the status, and we can have the alarm to be set on different uses and all. So if you remember, I showed you that I am running two different EC2 instances. I'll quickly go and I'll show you. I'm running here two EC2 instances in my account, and if you click on that, if you click on the CloudWatch, let's see the EC2 dashboard, or we can add a dashboard as well. Let's add a dashboard. Okay, create a dashboard. We can give us the name my EC2 dashboard. Okay, let's click on create. So now it'll ask you that what type of wizard type you want for the configuring. Okay, so I want the line next. Yeah, I want matrices right now. So let's configure it. So if you see about EC2, so EC2 there are 34 matrices it is showing for instance 1 and instance 2. Okay, so we can select the different type of the matrices here, whatever we want. So you can see the matrices name here. Matrix name is here: CPU credit balance, CPU uses, CPU utilization, disk write, disk route, and you can create the widgets. Okay, click, you can select and create the widget, and you can have that particular matrix with the different options available over here. Okay, so that is your dashboard, and this dashboard URL can directly be shared with your team members or your client, or anyone you want to showcase your dashboard. So this is a pretty good service, I would say, for in terms of security we talk about. So that's all I have for today. We talk about what all different type of services available in the AWS for security, how they are categorized into the different category depending upon the use cases, and then we go deep dive into the config. We created the rule. We saw that how it show the compliant and non-compliant uh, resources on the dashboard. Also, we learned about how to create a trail and how to check like what are the all events are going on our AWS account. So in the upcoming section, or I would say in the next part 3 of the security, we will go more deep and we will learn more about the different AWS security services. Till then, goodbye and stay safe. Thank you.